It's me. 5 free rack extensions that I use. Okay, let's get started here. I have this Prophet pulled up. Okay, so you have your chords down, and let's say you like the sound of that, but it's a little dull and you want to bit crush it. You could make a Scream 4, right? And you can bit crush it. But it always overpowers the sound that you're bit crushing. It doesn't really have a dry wet. I mean, I guess there's this damage, but it's not really dry wet, is it? So in the past, I've shown you that you can use, and I'll put a card up so you can get more info on a video that I've done previously. That was a long way to say that. So in the past, I showed you this method. You know, I could set this up, and you saw how many clicks that was, and then set up another Scream, and then mix it in a parallel type fashion. Mix it into the clean signal. But I don't always want to do that. Sometimes I want to kind of use a dry wet type situation. So that's where this rack extension comes in. Oh, utilities. You still need a Spider audio, but the Morphin XF crossfader, which I guess is like saying Morphin crossfader. Anyway, you can use that instead. Oh, still going to need that Scream though. Keep wanting to forget the Scream. So instead, I like to do this sometimes, especially if it's like I'm going to add one type of processing. You know, I'm not going to add like a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this to make a sauce. When I just want to add a dry wet to something. This will be our clean. Still label it. And then some clean signal will go to the distortion that has no dry wet and routed to the groovy melon. And then the output has to be routed. I didn't forget this time. And then I like the linear setting. So it's just a linear crossfader between A, which is clean, and B, which is bit crush. I write it there to remember. And then, so now we have control. Get that set up. We'll apply some crush, and then we will mix it in. That sounds nice. Let me make sure I'm good on the output here. Okay, so I added some distortion, and that sounds nice using the groovy melon to mix it in, and I have more control. But the thing is about distortion is that sometimes it can sound harsh, bit crushing distortion, is that it can sound harsh in the high end. There's like some frequencies that'll just stick right out. So another rack extension that is free that can help with that is the Omega Dynamic EQ. And I would just put this after the Scream 4. And then I would actually use one of the settings, the de-esser setting. So what is a de-esser, right? It's just a dynamic EQ or dynamic compressor or a frequency specific compressor. There we go. That's pushing down on a certain frequency. In this case, it's the S's and T's. In the case of a de-esser, I mean. And that's kind of the same place I want to tamp down on with this bit crusher struggle. So I'll make it fast. Find the spot. There you go. And smooth out all that. Take that click off and smooth out all that extra. It's subtle, but it's smoothing out the edges on the top end. Okay, so you have your sound. It's got some nice bit crushing on it, and you smooth that out. And for me, the next thing I would reach more for in this sound is something that's going to add some width and kind of smooth things out even more. So this kilohertz chorus is the plugin for the job. I hear people walking around. And I would actually take this straight out of the output. Ooh. Now it's our sound is starting to come together. Nice and smooth. It's a great sounding chorus. I mean, there's not much to say. Actually, Kilohertz has a bunch of, I think maybe there's 8 or so, maybe 6 different rack extensions that are free in the on the website there. So definitely check them out. So now that our sound is nice and wide and smooth and far more interesting sounding here before, it's a big difference. One thing I think it needs now is like some oomph, some drive. So another good free, and you can't really do a free rack extension tutorial without talking about this one. I avoided it on the other one, the free VST ones, but you just can't, because there's not that many superb rack extensions that are free, and this is one of them for sure. The Soft Tube Saturator, I didn't even give you a chance to behold its majesty. Soft Tube Saturator, let's get it looped in to add some oomph. Put it on the keep high setting. Just a little bit. It's kind of easy to distort. But of course that sounds good too, but you know what I mean. It's easy to go too far. I'm gonna route that to my keyboard real quick so I can just feel it out. Yeah, that sounds pretty good right there to me. Okay, so we've distorted it, smoothed it, widened it, and smoothed it even more, gave it a little bit more balls, and then now, one thing I do to sound sometimes, it's just they need more gain. It's a simple thing, but it happens. And instead of, I think a lot of people tend to reach for like a pulverizer or some type of compression, maybe even another saturator, some type of compression to add more gain. But you don't always want to do that. Sometimes you want to keep the kind of dynamic range there that's available there. You want to preserve it. That's the word I'm looking for. You want to preserve the dynamics that you have currently, but just raise the volume. So, and in a way that you can do it safely. So this one comes in handy as well. It's in the effects actually, which should be in utilities, but whatever. The kilohertz gain. Again with kilohertz. I'm going to make sure it's routed to the end of the chain. And it's handy because of this VU meter and because it's just a simple knob, which is also super handy if you want to do volume automation rides. It's better to automate this than it is to automate this, of course, because then you can just use this to control your relative volume. You get it? And then again, you can see the output coming out and make sure you don't come out too hot from the plugin. And you can just use this to just give it a little gain. Boom. So we went from to that. Still a little heavy on the distortion. But you get the idea. Boom. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Super useful. Free rack extensions. And if you look through the kilohertz stuff, you'll find more. Yeah, there you go. If you found this useful, that was a quick one. If you found this useful, hit that like, hit that subscribe, but really hit that like. It's super easy for you to do, and it really does help me out. It lets YouTube know that I am worthy of being presented to other people. So please help me out. But yeah, if you watched a few of these, please hit the subscribe too. Join the party, join the family. I like doing these for you. I like doing them with you, even though you're only here in my head, but that's a different conversation. Okay. I'll see you guys later.